Canada's mainstream media is at it again, filling you with lies and gaslighting you today. And so we're going to call it out today, as we always do. And that means a second episode in one day, but why not? We might as well. If they put it out, we got to knock it down. So today we're taking a chainsaw to a ridiculous, manipulative, and downright insulting article from CTV News. They're parroting a headline that claims the following: Canadian average wages are outpacing inflation. Okay, well, by raw numbers, that might be true. But when you think about it, they're telling you in the middle of a housing crisis, a grocery price spike crisis, a skyrocketing insurance price crisis, a interest rate rising environment that you're actually doing better. So shut your mouths, Canadians. Folks, again, this is gaslighting at scale, and I'm going to prove it to you. Let's go.
Welcome to Bakes on Things.
Welcome back to Bakes on Things. I'm Chris Baker, and this could be a wild episode because we're going to have to just rip this article a new one. The article says wages rose 4.4% year over year in April, and the inflation was just 1.7%. So, hey, you should be up 2.7% in real terms, right? Wrong. What CTV and even StatsCan apparently in this don't tell you is that this number is an average. And averages in economics, especially with wage data, are notoriously manipulatable. You know how you raise an average without giving anyone a raise? Oh, wow, you lay people off and you fire all the lowest paid workers. And presto, the average up. That's exactly what's happening here. Think about all the layoffs that are going on across this country right now, many of them in low wage sectors. So let me walk you through the math that you're working with here, CTV, because apparently you decided to leave that out conveniently because under Mark Carney, the country's doing great. Imagine you have 10 workers. Nine of those workers earn $40,000 a year, and one earns $400,000 a year. That average is $76,000 a year. Now, should you lay off or fire three of the 40K workers, suddenly the new average is $92,857. Nobody got a raise in that scenario. In fact, three people lost their jobs in that scenario, but the average sure shot up, didn't it, CTV? This is the sleight of hand that both StatsCan and CTV are playing here, and they're just blindly repeating it. Meanwhile, median wages, that's the income level where half of Canadians earn more and half of Canadians earn less, that only rose 1.1%, and that is well below inflation. Median tells you how the typical Canadian is doing. Average tells you how the bosses and the bankers are doing versus some low-income workers. So when CTV brags about wage growth, they're talking about the C-suite for the most part and not the street. And who actually got a raise here, we're wondering, because this seems like a parroting of, hey, we're actually not as bad as we are, except that we're worse. So what the heck is going on? Well, the sectors driving wage increase in April for that report were finance, insurance professionals, and mining and oil. Now, let me ask you, is that where you work? Is that where most Canadians work? I don't think so. Because here's where most Canadians do work. And this was conveniently left out. Well, we've got retail, we've got healthcare and healthcare support, we've got hospitality, we've got construction industries. And conveniently, those sectors, let's conveniently, flat are shrinking. But we'll just keep that out of the article. Just leave that out. If you're a nurse, a grocery clerk, a delivery driver, chances are you saw no real gain in your salary. And in many cases, you might have even seen a decline. This isn't wage growth, it's statistical deception. And what's the cost of living and how is it outpacing everyone? Because it really truly is. Millions of Canadians are complaining about this, and your article says we're all fine. Even if you did get a 4.4% raise, and let's be honest, most didn't, your real cost would have soared way beyond that. Let's talk about the actual inflation Canadians face, not just the one that is core inflation. Let's talk about rent, which is up 6 to 15% depending on your city. Groceries, which are still rising 5 to 8% in 2025. Auto insurance in some provinces up in double digits. Utilities, gas delivery fees, telecom bills. We talked about it all yesterday. You know the story. And don't forget, interest payments on debt have also exploded. If you have a variable rate mortgage, your income has been devoured by it over the last couple of years. Inflation isn't some neat little 1.7% pie chart across the board. For families, it's a storm of hidden increases. And CTV isn't reporting any of that, not your inflation. They're just quoting StatsCan's blunt instrument CPI. And that's not okay because there's a lot they're not telling you when they do that, and they are a news organization responsible for telling you the truth. CTV's article reads like a press release from Mark Carney and the Liberals, not one mention of the gig economy propping up household incomes, the part time job crises still hitting youth, the explosion of food bank usage across Canada, or the fact that credit card debt is at an absolute all time high in Canada, outpacing G7 nations. That's the real economy, not some sanitized reports showing bankers getting raises while working class Canadians groan and suffer. And here's the kicker, even. StatsCan admits that their own survey shows a 1.1% median increase, meaning the typical worker didn't even beat inflation. But CTV leaves that out. CTV had that data. They just ignored it. Why? Because it didn't fit the narrative. They're painting a recovery. They want you to feel like things are getting better, that Mark Carney is working, that his plan is working, that Canada's economy is rebounding, but it is not. This is the definition of propaganda, this story. It is not journalism in any way because it did not present even half of the facts related to that report. Here's what you need to take away from all of this. When a headline tells you wages are outpacing inflation, ask for the median, not the mean, the median. Ask who got the raises. Ask how many people were quietly removed from the data set, either by losing their jobs or just taken out of the data set for whatever reason? Because if you're still struggling to afford groceries, still behind on rent, still watching your savings evaporate into thin air, you are not imagining things. You are not alone. Do not listen to these people. They want you to think it's just you, that you're bad with money, that inflation is under control, that everyone else is doing fine. So what the hell is wrong with you? But all of that is a lie. The truth, this economy is leaving millions behind, and the media is covering it up with cherry picked stats and feel good nonsense like this. So if you appreciated this particular breakdown, I need you to share it. If you know somebody who's suffering, who thinks it's just them, I need you to share it. Hit that like button as well, subscribe, and share this video because this doesn't get out unless we do that. And share it with someone who's been told they're just the one not doing well. And if you want deeper breakdown like this one with full data and fact checks and tools to fight back, you're going to have to ask for this stat yourself because you can't rely on mainstream media to give you the real data. CTV may be trying to gaslight you, but don't let them. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and until next time, thanks for watching Bakes on Things. We'll catch you tomorrow.